Hey folks, Lobku here. I just came back from Gamescom and I had a ton of interviews, but one of my favorites was without a doubt the one with the producer of Dragon Ball FighterZ, Hiroki Tomoko, and also playing that game for the first time was really a blast. I don't remember being as excited for a game as I am for Dragon Ball FighterZ. I haven't been this excited for a game in a very long time, so the fact that I got to sit down and talk with the producer was just amazing. So here's the full interview, and while the interview is happening, I'll show you some gameplay that I captured over there. Most of the matches are me versus Rurikan. Rurikan is player 1, I'm player 2. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. So Dragon Ball FighterZ, it's been a ride. It's been very well received. There's a lot of hype around it. What has been the most common question you've gotten so far, so I don't ask it and make a fool of myself?
一番そうですね、多い質問はやっぱり
So the most frequent question that we receive is, I would guess, which character is coming up next. I completely understand that because of the visuals that we have, especially the Dragon Ball fans are really hoping that they'll be able to play with their favorite character with the graphics of Dragon Ball FighterZ. But so I'm always feeling a bit sorry that we're not able to give out details, but we hope users will look forward to further information on that.
Let's talk about the more recently announced Android 18. There was a decision made to have 17 playable as kind of a support character to Android 18's moveset. How did you come to that decision, and have you seen the reaction from fans? What do you think of it?
そうですね。まず一つは、なぜ17号がプレイヤブルではなくっていう形、こういう形で入って。
So since it is a fighting game, what we decided from start is that we didn't want to include characters that fight too similar or look too similar. And obviously since Android 17 and 18 are twins, we didn't want to include both of those characters. So we wanted at least one character to be playable. And since there's not that many female characters, we kind of decided to have Android 18 become the main and have Android 17 support her as one of her attacks. And as for the comments that we received from users, true, we did receive a lot of voices from fans saying that they wanted to have Android 17 a playable character, especially because of the way he's shown in the latest episodes of Dragon Ball Super. But in a way, I think that the fact that Android 18 and Android 17 fight together is making this character very unique, both in terms of a Dragon Ball character and a fighting game character as well. So we hope that users will actually get to play the game and feel that Android 17 isn't being ignored or whatever.
っていうところは本当に申し訳はないんですけれども、ただ逆に言うと2人でさっきお伝えした通り2人で1つっていうキャラクターで逆にすごく個性が立っているキャラクターにはなっていると思うので、ぜひプレイして遊んでいただきたいなと思ってます。
You definitely touched on an interesting point, which is the female representation in the roster. Guilty Gear is known for having very good female characters in their games, but Dragon Ball doesn't have a lot of females. So how do you balance that? What's your priority here? Is it the female representation or being faithful to Dragon Ball canon?
そうですね。
This is the hardest question I have today, I promise.
これが多分一番難しい質問なので。
そうですね。正直。
So, though we did bring up the topic about Android 18, well, the criteria that we have for Dragon Ball FighterZ when choosing the characters to implement is simply based on whether or not they can fight uniquely as a fighting game character. Because a lot of Dragon Ball games, basically we choose characters based on their popularity. But for Dragon Ball FighterZ, we're kind of choosing them based on their uniqueness or how they can fight in a fighting game. So we're not really focusing that much on the balance between guys or girls.
You now have Dragon Ball Z characters, you now have Dragon Ball Super characters, especially with the announcement of Super Saiyan Blue. Is original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball GT still a possibility without confirming any characters, obviously?
そうですね。もう本当にこれも実は。
So this is also a question that we kind of receive frequently. But if we kind of go into the arcs of the different arcs of Dragon Ball, that'll kind of be giving away some of the characters that will be coming up. So for the characters, we really want users to look forward to further information.
Arc Systems likes to hand animate each frame of each character, so having different colors for each character at the start is kind of an easy way to make them look different. Is full-on character skins a possibility though? For instance, Trunks from Dragon Ball Super?
そうですね。
Currently, we are focusing on the color changes at this point of time. In the builds that we prepared for example, E3 and Gamescom, there's only 4 different colors. But in the final game, we plan to have more than 10. So in the base game, we aren't currently planning to have complete different costume changes. But we do receive a lot of voices from fans and also the press saying that, costume changes could be an option. So in our minds, since though nothing is finalized, in our minds we are thinking that maybe we should consider costume changes as well.
Arc System's trademark tutorial. Guilty Gear has the best fighting game tutorial I've ever seen. Is Dragon Ball FighterZ gonna have something similar?
そうですね。今回やっぱりそのカジュアルな人が初めて遊ば
Right, so since this is a Dragon Ball game, we can imagine a lot of casual fans playing this game for the first time. So it may not be exactly the same as Guilty Gear, but obviously we are planning to have a tutorial so that casual users can easily access the game.
Okay, are there any plans for official support of the professional scene? You've had a tournament at EVO. Are there plans for the future, bringing this game to EVO, maybe having a league like Tekken does?
はい、まず e スポーツの今後の展開なんですけど、今回のゲームに関して e スポーツすごく強く
Okay, so no specific details or plans have been locked down for in terms of esports or tournaments post-launch. Because what we're really focusing on right now, because we understand that esports is a fan-driven community, that what we're trying to do is really polish up the game, make the game better, so that users can decide on their own if or not if Dragon Ball FighterZ can be good enough to go esports. But like you said, we did have some tournaments back at EVO, and we are actually having a tournament at ESL tomorrow on the 25th. So we hope that users will get a chance to know whether or not if Dragon Ball FighterZ can be a part of the competitive scene.
ぜひ皆さんに楽しんでってほしいなと思います。
As far as game modes go, you've revealed story mode very recently. Anything you can tell us about what you do in story mode? We've seen original cutscenes, but is it going to be a series of fights and cutscenes in between, which look amazing, by the way? Or is there something more gameplay-wise, something exclusive to the story?
まず、ストーリーモードに関しては、
In terms of the story of Dragon Ball FighterZ, it may be a little bit different from what we have in Guilty Gear. And what we're planning to do is not make it like a simple flow where you just fight and then you see a cutscene and then you fight and then a cutscene again. We're planning to include some replayability within those scenes, I would say, within the flow or the process of the story mode, so that casual users will and Dragon Ball fans will also be able to enjoy the story.
ストーリーを楽しみながら、やり込み要素っていうところも、入れられるような、ちょっとカジュアルユーザー層の方でも結構入りやすいような、ストーリーモードにしたいなというふうに考えてますので、続報をお待ちいただければと思います。
You've teased some single-player modes. Story mode seems to be the first one of them. Is it reasonable to expect traditional single-player modes like survival or arcade modes like many fighting games you've developed in the past?
そうですね、本当に具体的なところは
Okay, so sorry we can't go into the details right now at this point of time, but we assure you that we are planning different modes aside from the story mode for single player.
We have to talk about the Nintendo Switch, and I'm sorry, I know you can't reveal whether or not there's a version in the works. But ever since you mentioned in an interview that if fans keep demanding it, you'll consider developing the game for the Switch. What do you think of the demand so far? And what's the best place for fans to request a Switch version?
まずすごくお客様の声
Okay, so we are really thankful to the voices from the fans in terms of the Switch version. But unfortunately, to be completely honest, the plan is still really TBD. So we can't give like a specific answer to the users at this point of time, especially because we're really focusing right now in releasing Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which is coming up on September 22nd. So we hope that users will first enjoy that, and then we hope that we can make updates in terms of the Switch version.
しっかり売ることっていうのに最大注力をしていきたいなというふうに考えております。
Right. And as far as how do the fans make noise? Is it like they've been signing petitions? They've been on social media. Is any of that a good way to show interest? Where is Arc Systems looking, or where is Bandai looking to gauge the interest?
Right, so it's kind of difficult to say the exact places that we are looking at, especially because we do have a lot of companies in across the globe. But what we can assure you is that we are aware of the voices that fans are delivering to us. We can assure that. But like we just said, right now we're focusing on Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. So, and after that, we would really think we need to consider.
For sure. So people are doing the right thing. Keep doing what you're doing. You have auto combos in this game, which is something that some fans don't appreciate, but I think it's essential for beginners. Can these be turned off like Guilty Gear Technical and Stylish, or is it on all the time, but you have manual combos at the same time?
そうですね。まずスタイリッシュコンボに関しては今回、予定はしていないです。なので基本はみんな
So basically for Dragon Ball FighterZ, we do plan to keep that auto combo on at all times. So there's not going to be like a stylish mode that they have for Guilty Gear. But we believe that, well, the deepness of battle doesn't simply come from the complicated combos or complicated controls. So we want to create these mind games based on different places. For example, we have the 3 versus 3. So basically we believe that the 3 versus 3 aspect that we have in the game, such as the Z assist, which you can use for both attack and defense, creates a good mind game aspect in the game. So we believe that this sort of feature and a number of features that we haven't been able to reveal at this point of time yet will help better gamers, I would say, the hardcore fighting game users enjoy the game as a fighting game as well.
そういったような格闘ゲームユーザーでもしっかりと遊び込めるような戦略が作れると思っています。
You have such a discrepancy in terms of power, because you have Krillin and Super Saiyan Blue at the same time, and they're going toe to toe. They're punching each other and hurting each other. Are you implementing different stats as far as damage dealt, depending on how powerful those characters are, and how significant of a difference is that?
Okay, so in terms of stats, you're right that basically we are making a difference in between, for example, Goku and Krillin, because if Krillin can simply defeat Goku with his stats, then that's not being faithful to the anime. But at the same time, if he can't do anything against Goku, then that's not going to be a good fighting game. So that's one of the reasons why we kind of decided to make the game a 3 versus 3, so that you won't have to actually go 1 versus 1. For example, Krillin, he may not be as strong as Goku, but he has specific and unique attacks or abilities that can recover your team members, such as throwing a Sensubin, exactly. So we believe that with the 3 versus 3 and giving different roles and abilities to different characters, we can be faithful to the anime while creating a good balance in terms of a fighting game.
Tell me about the Sensubin, because I play the game and you can only do it once per battle, right? And you can either throw it to an assist character, or you can have Krillin as an assist, throw it into the field, and the opponent can pick it up.
そうですね。ぜひちょっとユーザーにクリリンに関しては先頭を投げたりとか、あと石を投げた
So
り。
for the Sensubins, you can actually throw them more than once. It's just that there's a cycle between the Senzu and the rocks that he throws. But for this one, we kind of want players to find out for themselves the cycle that they have between the rocks and the Senzu beans. One thing that we can say for Krillin is that depending on which button you press when throwing the Senzu beans, when you're controlling Krillin, you can recover. You can decide which partner you want to recover.
ボタンの違いで、2位の方の控えにいる、2位のキャラクターに投げることもできるので、そこもうまく使ってほしいなと思います。
Okay, I think we're being kicked out, but so I'd like to ask you one final question. What are you most proud to have achieved with Dragon Ball FighterZ?
それがですね、まだ達成が全然開発の方は絶賛続いているので。
So to be completely honest, since we're still really busy with the development of the game, I don't feel like we accomplished anything at this point of time. But what really made us happy was that since it is a Dragon Ball game and we have the graphics that are faithful to the anime, we thought that Dragon Ball fans will be really happy with what we deliver. But what was surprising was that we are also getting a lot of positive feedback from the fighting game audience as well, which is really gives us a high motivation to keep on going. So right now, the first thing that we want to accomplish is to deliver this Dragon Ball FighterZ as a high quality Dragon Ball game and as a fighting game as well.
ゲームとしてのクオリティっていうのはしっかり保つように、そこをまず達成したいなというふうに考えています。
Alright, unfortunately that's all the time we have. Sho-san, Hiroki-san, arigatou gozaimasu. And see you guys next time. Bye.